Hello mathematicians, welcome back to Math with Naz. You are right on time, I've been waiting for you. It's time to learn how to tell time on this kind of clock. Now you might look at this clock and think, oh, I have one of those in my home. Or you might look at this clock and think, that clock's kind of old-fashioned looking. Anybody know what this clock is called? If you do, go ahead and shout it out. Yeah, it's an analog clock. Did you say analog? I say it, you say it. Analog. So go ahead and take a look at this analog clock, and I want you to pause the video and shout out everything that you notice about the analog clock. Welcome back, third graders. I hope that some of the things that you said about the analog clock is that it's round. I'm sure you said that. I bet you also noticed some numbers. And on this clock, unlike the clock you might have at home, and the clock I have at home, this one has two sets of numbers, a red set and a blue set. It's important for me to point out to you that this blue set is not usually on a clock. This one is there to help us as we learn about what an analog clock is and what all of the different elements of this clock are. I bet you also noticed that it goes from 1 all the way up to 12. And then if you looked really closely, I bet you saw that it started, the 1 was a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. What number was I just skip counting by? Shout it out. I was skip counting by 5s for sure. The interval, I say that word, you say it, interval. The interval is 5 minutes. That means the space in between each of these numbers is 5 minutes. Why does it end on 60? Does anybody know? Shout it out if you do know. It ends on 60 because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. How many minutes are in an hour? Shout it out. 60, very good. Now I bet you also noticed that in between each of the numbers, like 1 and 5, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 4 dots, but 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody know why that is? What do those dots represent? They represent a minute, and sometimes you'll see them in dots. On the clock I have at home, they're little dash marks. But it represents a minute because between 1 and 2 is 5 minutes. Between 1 and 30 is how many minutes? Oh, I said 30. Between 1 and 6, there are 30 minutes. Between 12 and 6, there are 30 minutes. Between 12 and 9, how many minutes are there? Sure, 45. You guys, when it ends at the 12, you'll see it's a 60. But when it starts going over, it starts with 1. So you know that this is also, it's a 60 and it's a 0 because it's a circle and it wraps back up to 12. So when, for instance, right now it's 2 o'clock. 2:00 would be the time on a digital clock. But if I move it over here, it's now 2:01. All right, let's practice telling time. What time is it right now? The small hand is the hour. The big hand is the minute. 2:15. Okay? While I'm moving this, you're going to tell me what time it is, but I also want you to pay attention to this small hand. What's it doing? So what time is it now? This is often confusing for third graders because that small hand, what did it do? It moved. As I moved the hour hand, as I moved the minute hand, the hour hand gets closer to the next hour. And that's because the minute hand is closer to completing its whole cycle of 60 minutes. And 60 minutes is in how many hours? 1. There's 60 minutes in an hour and there's 60 seconds in a minute. So what time is it now? It's not 3 yet because it hasn't hit the 3. It's 2:30. How about now? It's not 3 o'clock, you guys, until this minute has hit the 12, and it hasn't done it yet. So this is still on 2. Even though it looks so much closer to 3, it's still in the 2 o'clock hour because this has not made it all the way up. So it is now 2:45. What time is it now? 2:55. And what time is it now? It's 3 o'clock. Nice job, third graders. So when you use a digital clock, the things you need to remember is that the intervals are how many minutes? 5. How many seconds are in a minute? 60. How many minutes are in an hour? 60. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at another kind of analog clock. And this particular analog clock is also called a stopwatch. Sorry for jostling you around so much. Just gotta get you right here so you can see the computer screen. So this is a another kind of analog clock, and you see there's an extra, even longer than a minute, longer than an hour, but not quite as long as a minute. You see that one hand that's going faster than the rest of the hands? Do you know what that is? It's a second hand. And remember how many seconds are in a minute? 60. So I have a challenge for you as the stopwatch goes. I want you to figure out how many jumping jacks you can do in 60 seconds or 1 minute. Did you guys hear Lulu? She's super excited to find out. So what you need to do right now is clear a spot for yourself, move everything out of the way so you don't hit yourself and hurt yourself. Find a good spot. When you do that, we're going to start counting. We're not gonna count, the clock's gonna count. So once the 60 seconds gets up to the 12, it will be 7:31, 7:35, 36, 37. It'll be 7:38, and you're gonna see how many jumping jacks you can do and before 7:39, 60 seconds or 1 minute. Are you ready? Get set, go. Been 5 minutes, seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. How many have you done so far? Keep jumping, don't give up. 20 seconds, 25 seconds, 30 seconds. Nice job, third graders. 35 seconds, 40 seconds. You got this. 45 seconds, 50 seconds, 5 seconds left. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can stop with your jumping jacks. So how many jumping jacks were you able to do in 60 seconds or 1 minute? Shout it out. Nice job. Third graders, what you just did is you did jumping jacks for the span of 1 minute. And that's just that little tick. That's just 1 minute. I can't wait to find out how many you did. Let's review real quickly the different parts of the analog clock. And I will put, I'll put a diagram in your seesaw work today too. So we know that the small hand is the hour, the big hand is the minute, the interval or the space in between one number and the other is 5. We know there's 60 seconds in an hour. No, there aren't. There are 60 seconds in a minute, and there are 60 minutes in an hour. We know that when the minute hand moves, so does the hour hand, but it's not the next hour until the big minute hand finds its way back to 12. All right, third graders, all you have to do today to show that you watched this video and worked along is to record the number of jumping jacks you can do in 60 seconds in your Seesaw journal. Then you'll have your problem set to do right there in the Seesaw journal. All right, third graders, thanks for spending some time with me. Take care. We'll talk soon.